What's up, everyone, and welcome back to NFL Nexus. We are all about doing the deepest dives on all 32 teams. And if that sounds like your kind of thing, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button so you never miss out. Today, we are zeroing in on the New Orleans Saints, a team that is standing at a really fascinating crossroads. I mean, they ended the 2025 season on a serious high note, giving everyone a peek at what they could be. But now the real work starts. This whole offseason is about one thing and one thing only. How do you go from being a team with potential to a legitimate contender built around your second-year quarterback, Tyler Shoke? So, what's the blueprint? How do they get it done? Well, we're going to break down every single angle. We'll look at how the draft can bring in some serious firepower, whether one key free agent could be the missing piece of the puzzle, and we're going to cap it all off with an unbelievable what-if coaching story from the Saints' past that honestly could have changed everything. All right, let's get right into it. All right, so here's the game plan for today. We'll start by setting the stage, looking at the crossroads the Saints are at right now. Then we're diving headfirst into the draft to look at a game-changing receiver and a super versatile running back. After that, we'll talk free agency and a veteran who could completely change the look of the offense. Then we'll flip over to the defense for a classic high-risk, high-reward prospect. And we'll wrap it up with that wild story about the coach that almost was, before asking the big question facing the front office. So let's set the stage here. The mission for the New Orleans Saints this offseason? It's crystal clear, but man, it is anything but easy. This isn't about just getting a little bit better. It's about putting together a roster that can grab the NFC South by the throat and not let go. That momentum they had at the end of 2025 was awesome to see. But here's the thing about momentum. It doesn't carry over to a new season. Now they have to find the actual talent that turns this group from a team that got hot late into a consistent, week-in, week-out winner. So where do you even begin? Well, for the Saints, it's got to be priority number one. Get your young QB some weapons. I mean, you can have the most talented quarterback on the planet, but if his guys can't get open or make plays for him, what's the point? That talent is just wasted. For New Orleans, this means finding a truly dynamic playmaker to put on the other side of their star Chris Olave. And their best shot to do that is early in the 2026 NFL Draft. And boom, with the 8th overall pick, they get their man, USC wide receiver Mekhi Lemon. And listen, we're not just talking about a good receiver. This guy was arguably the best receiver in all of college football last season, and he's got the hardware to prove it. Winning the Biletnikoff Award, that's a huge deal. Just look at those numbers. 79 catches, over 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns, and he did that while being the main focus of every defense he played. This is a ready-made, day-one impact player. But look, his impact goes way beyond the stat sheet. First off, his ball skills are just ridiculous. We're talking about a guy who turns 50-50 balls into his personal property. He also fills a massive hole the Saints offense has had, a true take the top off the defense deep threat. And adding that one element creates a huge ripple effect. Defenses can't just double-team Chris Olave anymore. They have to respect Lemon's speed. And that creates a nightmare for defensive coordinators. For a young quarterback like Tyler Shoke, that's a cheat code. And Daniel Jeremiah from NFL Network just nails it with this quote. When he says easy completions, he doesn't just mean little dump-offs. He means that Lemon is such a technician, such a great route runner, that he creates these giant throwing windows for his quarterback. He's that reliable guy you can trust on a critical third down. For a QB going into his all-important second year, having a receiver that makes his job simpler, man, that is absolutely massive for his confidence and his development. All right, let's fast forward to the third round. The Saints turn their attention to another position on offense with a ton of question marks, running back. And they grab Emmett Johnson from Nebraska. Now, if you're a Saints fan, this might feel a little bit like deja vu. They took Kendry Miller in almost this exact same spot a few years back. And while he's been okay, injuries have been a problem. But this pick isn't just about Miller. It's about the elephant in the room. Alvin Kamara's future with the team is, well, let's just say it's murky. So what's the deal with Johnson? Well, this is a guy whose name you heard more and more as the draft process went on. He's got great vision, fantastic contact balance, but the thing that makes him so valuable in today's NFL is what he can do as a receiver out of the backfield. He's a true three-down weapon. Really, this pick is all about insurance. It gives them a high-upside player who can provide some stability in a really unstable situation. And this really sums it up perfectly. It's that word, versatility. That's the whole key here. Johnson isn't just a backup plan for one guy. He's like a Swiss Army knife. If Kamara's gone, or if Miller gets hurt again, you have Johnson ready to step in and do it all. To find that kind of security in the third round of the draft, that's just tremendous value. Okay, the draft is one huge piece of the puzzle, but it's not the only piece. If the Saints really want to make some noise and compete with the big dogs in the NFC, they might have to open up the checkbook in free agency. Adding a rookie like Mekhi Lemon is awesome for the long term, but signing a proven, veteran pass catcher, that sends a signal that you are all about winning right now, in 2026. So who could that be? Well, A to Z Sports points to one name in particular, former 49ers wideout Jawan Jennings. His stats from last year are pretty solid, but the number that jumps off the page is the 9 touchdowns. That's a career high, and it tells you he's a serious weapon in the red zone. But man, look at that contract projection. 3 years, $66 million. That is a ton of money, especially for a guy who's about to turn 29 years old. But this is where it gets really interesting. Forget the stats for a second. His style of play is a perfect match for what Kellen Moore wants to do on offense. He's a big, physical receiver who is an absolute beast as a run blocker, which is a huge part of the Shanahan system he comes from. He brings a kind of size and toughness that the Saints receiver room just doesn't have right now. Imagine him lining up as the number 2, getting single coverage while defenses worry about Olave and Juwan Johnson. He could feast. But hold on, it's not quite that simple. This insight from Kyle Krabs brings up a couple of really important concerns. First, Jennings is at his best when he's playing in the slot. His production took a pretty big hit last year when the 49ers asked him to play outside more often. So you need a plan for him. And second, and maybe more importantly, is the age. Paying top-of-the-market money for a receiver on a multi-year deal as he approaches 30 is a risky business. You're almost guaranteed to be paying for his decline. But then you look at the alternative. You compare the risk of signing Jennings to the risk of just doing nothing. And right now, the internal option is Devon Vele, who's had a really tough time staying healthy and being consistent. Relying on him to suddenly become a reliable WR2 is a huge gamble. So yeah, Jennings is expensive, and he's not a spring chicken. But he is a known quantity. You know exactly what you're getting, and that provides a level of security this offense needs. All right, we've talked a lot about offense, but let's flip over to the other side of the ball, because you can't win in this league if you can't stop anybody. The defense needs more juice, especially on the defensive line. They have to find a long-term running mate for Chase Young, especially with the legend Cam Jordan now entering his age 37 season. And in the second round, that leads them to a classic boomer bust prospect. At pick number 42, the Saints decide to swing for the fences on Zion Young, the edge rusher from Missouri. I mean, just look at the measurables. 6'5", 262 pounds. This guy looks like he was built in a lab to rush the passer. And the talent is absolutely undeniable. He went down to the Senior Bowl, the biggest all-star game for prospects, and didn't just hold his own. He dominated, winning player of the game against the best seniors in the country. Yeah, let's be really clear about this. On the field, there are zero questions about this player. He has top-tier, first-round athleticism. But he's not just a workout warrior. He combines that athletic ability with incredible play recognition. He can diagnose plays, set a strong edge in the run game. He's not just a one-trick pony. When you put that talent and that football IQ together, you have a player with legitimate all-pro potential. Based on the tape alone, he should have been gone 20 picks ago. So why is a guy like that still on the board at pick 42? Well, this is the catch. This is the gamble. The only reason he's available is because of some significant off-field concerns. He's got a pending court hearing for DWI arrest and a separate misdemeanor assault charge. These are serious red flags. So for the Saints, this is a monumental decision. Do you bet on your locker room culture and your coaching staff to get this kid on the right path? If you're right, you might have just landed the steal of the entire draft. But if you're wrong, it's a wasted pick that could set your defense back for years. Okay, let's totally shift gears here. We've spent this whole time looking ahead to the future of the Saints, but now I want to take a little detour and look back at a fascinating what-if story from their recent past. A pivotal moment that, had it gone differently, could have completely changed the landscape of the entire franchise. And it all revolves around this one question. For years, it felt like an annual tradition, right? The rumors about Sean Payton potentially leaving for the Cowboys' job. Most of us just brushed it off as off-season noise. But what if it had actually happened? What if, back in 2019, Payton had packed his bags for Dallas? Who would have taken over a team that was ready to win a Super Bowl? Well, as it turns out, the players in that locker room already had their guy picked out. This quote from former Saints Pro Bowl tackle Teron Armstead is just, it's staggering. I have to read it again. We were damn near like petitioning to get Sean Payton up and out of there. Now, he clarifies they weren't planning some kind of mutiny, but the feeling was real. When they heard the rumors about Payton leaving, the reaction wasn't fear or panic. It was excitement about who they wanted as their next head coach. And the man they were ready to go to war for was none other than Dan Campbell. It's easy to forget now, but he was a massive part of that Saints organization for 5 seasons, serving as the assistant head coach. He was a core leader in that building. So while the media was speculating about Peyton to Dallas, the Saints locker room was apparently ready to make Dan Campbell their head coach. Of course, we all know what happened next. He eventually left and went to Detroit, where he has pulled off one of the most incredible turnarounds we've seen in a long time. So why? Why were the players so sold on him? Teron Armstead lays it out perfectly. Campbell is intense. He loves the daily grind of football. He values toughness, hard work, and especially the big guys up front on the offensive line. His whole philosophy is built around running the football and being more physical than the other team. And that old school mentality just connected with the veterans in that locker room. Armstead's words say it all. He was incredible, bro. We loved Dan. The feeling was, if he's our coach, we're all in. That's just an unbelievable peek behind the curtain. And that brings us all the way back to today and the huge decisions staring the Saints right in the face. They've got a few different ways they can go. Do you draft the Biletnikoff winner, Mekhi Lemon, and get your young quarterback an elite weapon for the next half-decade? Do you open up the checkbook for the proven veteran, Jawan Jennings, to try and win right now? Or do you take the massive gamble on Zion Young, the pass rusher with incredible talent but some serious baggage? Which move do you think would really push the Saints over the top? I really want to know what you think. Drop a comment below and let me know which move you'd make if you were in charge. We read every single one of them and love hearing your take. And hey, real quick, if you enjoy these deep dives and want to help support the channel, we've actually created a whole series of NFL-themed coloring books. They're perfect for kids, grandkids, or honestly, even for adults. You can check them out using the link down in the description or just by scanning the QR code that's on your screen right now. Thanks for watching this deep dive here on NFL Nexus. We really appreciate you spending some of your day with us. And don't forget to subscribe for more explainers on all your favorite teams. We'll see you in the next one.